And Robert will not be presenting, but he's here for the Q&A afterwards.
Jen is as well.
Yeah, and Jen.
She graduated.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I graduated Monta Vista, and I also did middle college. So my last 2 years were entirely at De Anza. And so I graduated from UCLA in 2014, and I work in Saratoga right now. And I'm also the advisor for the club.
So we're going to talk about generational differences. So I already went this over a little, but we do things differently. So what we decided to do was really look at how we're different and the different ways that we look at things. So we took some parents and we took some teens. We both asked them questions. We took their answers. We made them with this in the slides. We made it look all fancy and nice, and we're going to present it to you.
So the reason why we're doing this presentation is because we realized there seems to be a disconnect between parents and their teenagers, especially in communication. And I know for me, a lot of my arguments stem from simply miscommunications over trivial things. And I think that the information and research we've gained from our surveys and our interviews can really help because we've learned a lot about how parents and teenagers view each other and themselves. And we think that by sharing these discoveries, we can help close this disconnect between parents and teenagers.
So when we're presenting, try to keep in mind that not only the things that we are saying and apply them to other parents that you might know, and like how they look at their kids, like, oh, like my friend always does this to their kids, but then it might also be valuable to consider if you also do certain things as well. Staying open-minded obviously always is a good thing, and also if you have any questions, we have question slides for you guys to think about, and maybe you can share your views about them. Afterwards we'll have a Q&A as we mentioned before, and you can ask other questions then.
Yeah. So the first question we asked was, what are your goals for your kid if you're a parent, or if you're a teenager, what are your own goals for your future? And what we found is a lot of the parents, what they really wanted for their kids was to grow up, be able to sustain themselves, have a family and be able to sustain their families, have a home, have nice meals 7 days a week, have a Tesla maybe. But in order to have all these nice things, you have to have a high income occupation, which we also found that the parents, you guys, wanted to have for their kids. In addition, they wanted their kids to be happy, right? Having a good house, having a good family, be able to afford all this is, be able to be happy if you have all these things. They also wanted to have their kids happy now, but maybe not necessarily, like, you guys tell your kids to study, yes? Work hard, yes? I assume so.
Do you even have to ask that?
But, so, in order we study a lot more today, so we can have a lot more fun in the future, yes? Right? We put a lot of work into getting to college and having a good job so that we can have nice fun things for the rest of our lives. And then we also asked that what their goals were. A lot of teens, they were hesitant. They responded like this, they look at the ground, they don't really know. They really don't really know what they want for their future. But we sat there for a couple minutes. They eventually did answer, and when they did answer, it was always in terms of, I want to go to this nice college, I want to have this nice career, and I want to have this nice job. And it's just that. It was not, I want to have a family, I want a dog maybe, I want a cat. I like cats better. Yes. No, I want to have good friends, I want to have a hobby, I want to go around the world. They didn't say these things, they just said college, career, job. And that was how they framed their future. It seemed to us that's the extent of which they see their future. And I'm sure many of you have told your kids, a CS is a good way, is a good, it's a good occupation, it's a good major, makes a lot of money, not too hard. And most of the kids were, it's not a bad idea. They considered it. They're like, maybe it is a good future to have, to sit in front of a computer, make code and work for Google, work for Facebook, and do all these nice things.
They're sitting in front of the computer all day anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, just to clarify, all the questions we asked were to Asian Americans, Asian American teens.
So to people like you and to kids like us. So the first question is, we want to know, how is your relationship with your teenager right now, and what about it works and what about it doesn't work? So stuff like, how much do you know about your kids? Do you talk to your kids a lot? Do you eat your meals together and you talk during these meals?
What do you talk about during
Yeah.
class? Who are their friends?
If you have any answers to questions that you want to share, please do. So I'll give you my experience. A lot of the times, my parents are also really busy. I'm really busy. My mom's really busy, right? And a lot of times we don't get together and we don't eat, which I feel like is kind of detrimental, because when you do come together, eat, hopefully you talk about stuff, right? It's a very nice casual place. You have good food, hopefully made by your parents. And hopefully you compliment them on that. And you just sit there, it's a nice casual place to talk about what happened of the day, build relationships, and stuff like that. And I don't really do that all that often, which is not a good thing, because I don't really learn about what my parents do. They don't learn about what I do. So we're kind of disconnected as a result of that. Do you guys think that's how you guys, your experience?
I see some nodding.
Yes?
Yeah, I know a lot of times at dinner gonna be looking at my phone and checking messages. Jen knows, because we eat dinner together sometimes at home, and I'm always like chatting to my friends at the dinner table. My mom is like, no phones at the table, and then I always get annoyed because like, oh, I'm talking to other people, but in reality, it's just me and my mom and sometimes Jen sitting there, and if we're all looking at our phones and not talking to each other, then it's not great, is it? It's like reality is there and we're just like kind of ignoring it, and that is kind of detrimental to our relationship to each other, I feel like.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So when you looking at your cell phone at dinner table,
Yeah.
what do you feel at that moment? So you try to avoid talking to them, or really there's just a lot of interesting things in your cell phone at that moment attacking you? Or you are saying the food, it is really bad. I try to understand at that moment what you think.
Yeah, that's
Why you behave that way. You actually understand that your parents would like to talk to you, right? You're trying to avoid that situation, or maybe for other things we as a parents never be able to understand.
I think that's a really good question, actually. That's what this presentation is about. When I'm looking at my phone at the dinner table, sometimes it's because like before I eat dinner, I'm already chatting with my friends, and then I don't think about ending the conversation to go eat, and then I kind of forget about like my mom being there at the table too. But sometimes it's also because like what you said, like sometimes I do feel like avoiding conversation because I know in my mind I think that, oh, my mom's gonna ask me, oh, how are college apps going, and what'd you get on that test, and I don't want to talk about that at that moment, but I know she's gonna ask that if I stop looking at my phone. So sometimes it's like that. I know also a lot of really great conversations I've had with my mom have been just like while we're eating dinner. And I ask her like, oh, have you heard what Trump did recently? And like having like actual conversations and getting to know like how she sees things. But a lot of times when I'm at the dinner table, I forget about that, and I feel like it's a shame most of the time. I think a good way to not do that is being more present with the situation. So grounding myself more in reality and thinking my mom is actually there next to me and I'm ignoring her on my phone. How does that look like to her? And I think knowing that a little bit of empathy could help with that. But also sometimes like the kid doesn't really want to talk about things because they know certain topics will be brought up. I guess.
Yeah, sometimes I don't have my parents. Sometimes I'm really interested in this one thing. Also, I like to read the news, so I feel like sometimes, it's more productive for me to read about this new thing, this cool science thing, or this cool weird Trump thing, right? So sometimes like that's more productive. Although sometimes because me and my dad, we've been going out to eat a lot together recently, and we still look at our phones. Sometimes we, look this really cool thing on my phone, this real story. That's, we talk about that a little. But sometimes he looks at his phone, he doesn't want to talk to me, I don't want to talk to him. So I feel like it's a shared experience sometimes.
Okay, so the next question we asked the children the next question that we asked the parents and teens was, what is unique about your child or yourself if you were the child? So what we noticed about the parents were that their responses were a little contradictory. Many of them had generic responses like, oh, my kid is so hardworking, he's so nice, oh, he's so kind. But they also thought that their kid was somehow unique and different from the rest of the Asian stereotype. And this was a little ironic because most Asian parents said the exact same thing, which is a little contradictory to the fact that they're all unique.
No, we're all different, but we're different in the same way.
Yeah, and then another ironic thing we noticed was that the parents actually didn't compliment their children a lot, but when asked about their children, they gave a lot of generic recurring responses and compliments like, oh, he's so nice, so kind. And this is a bit ironic and led to us to discover there was a disconnect between their actually communicating together. So when we asked the teens, they actually struggled to find something that was actually unique about themselves. I know for me, I feel like a lot of the activities I do, like badminton, piano, math, they're all like stereotypical Asian activities. And like, I don't really have a lot that I feel differentiates me. And I totally agree with the second point. I definitely procrastinate a lot and have an issue with that, and I'm pretty open with my problems. And the sad thing is that when asked about what was positive about them, they mostly just mentioned activities and extracurriculars, and they didn't really mention like personality traits or hobbies or other activities.
For the newcomers, the things that we talked about when we asked people is because we had a survey that we asked previously, like a year ago, I think.
Yeah.
About several parents and teens on how they saw things, basically. And these are the questions we asked them.
So the second question we want to ask you guys is, why do you think your relationship with your parents or teens is the way it is? Like, if your relationship is good, what makes it so good? Do you guys converse a lot? And if your relationship is bad, why do you think, what causes the misunderstandings or miscommunications between you? So like, one problem I think is that with my parents, like, a lot of the time, there's simple like misunderstandings lead to like bigger arguments. Like, I know that with my dad, it's because I'm not close with him because I feel like there's not a lot of emotional trust in each other. Like, every time we start to go closer, we always end up having like an argument or disagreement, and this leads me to like have less trust in him in the future and prevents me from like wanting to get closer to him later on. And I think that it's all sprouts from misunderstandings and like a disconnect in our communication.
Do you guys have any thoughts on this? I mean, yeah.
Let me try to answer the question. So, in your mind, is there a model for the ideal dad or mom, or you're at a stage where you really don't care about the parents trying to do a better job because you have bigger issues to worry about, deal with? You don't feel like you can help at all. Does it make sense? Like, is it something that the parents try but they don't really meet your expectation, or you don't really share the same world with them? Like, you really don't care how much they try.
Yeah.
I mean, don't care is probably a too strong word.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like, you see what I mean?
Like you guys want to have a good relationship, but we might not want, right? Because in order to have a good relationship, we both have to work towards it, right? Sometimes the kid might not want to work it as hard as the parent. Sometimes the parent might not want to work as hard, and so if you both really want to work all the time, probably have a good relationship. But if you sometimes don't want to work, sometimes do want to work, then
It's more difficult.
yeah, it doesn't work out.
Yeah, so my experience with parents, I think I can probably speak for some of the parents, we kind of consciously try, right? It's not like maybe even subconsciously we try, right? We just can't help it. But like at some point in your high school experience, there probably we don't think we speak the same vocabulary. We don't really share the same culture and whatnot. So you just want to be on your own. You want to develop your own thing. So you may not even consider how much you're trying on the side. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a sense like whether there's any truth in that.
Yeah, I think that's true for like my mom at least. She thinks of trying to improve our kind of communication and our relationship in general a lot. And I know for me, some of the reasoning internally that I've tried using to justify me, like, oh, hi, Mom.
Laugh and talk at the same time.
Yeah. So I know my mom tries a lot to make a better relationship between both of us and have like more communication and be more open. But I know some reasoning that I've used to justify myself when I'm not engaging is like, oh, I have more important things going on, or I don't really want to listen right now, and those are because some of it could be because of frustration on my day that's completely unrelated to what my mom did. So I know like I could have like a really bad time when I'm practicing music and nothing works out, and then my mom's like, oh, do you want tea? And I'm like, no, go away. And like I'm feeling really bad, and like that's like kind of displacement in psychology. This is like a term where something happened in your day basically and makes you angry, but then you release your anger on something completely unrelated. I think that could be a factor. Another factor of me not wanting to really like work with my mom into getting a better relationship could also just be something that I interpret my mom doing as like, for example, invading my privacy when I have like my door usually closed, but then sometimes I would get annoyed when my mom would just knock and then just come in without me saying you can come in, and then that like to me sometimes I interpret it as like invasion of my privacy, but I know my mom most of the time doesn't think so. That like it's like our house, she should be able to come in and say dinner's ready or whatever like she wants to say to me, or ask me about college apps or things like that. And like yeah, that too, like college apps, the phrase kind of just like triggers me a little bit. But yeah, I think there's a lot of factors. Most of them aren't directly related to our parents' actions, but more on our own misinterpretations, at least for me.
Yeah.
I know like their intentions are good, especially my mom always intends for the best. But I'm like this hormonal teenager and I do things not the correct way a lot of times. But one great thing, sorry, I'm like rambling on.
It's fine.
But like one great thing that I learned recently is how to apologize and forgive, not only like other people for doing things, but also myself for forgiving.
Forgiving yourself for doing something.
Yeah, and also, well, yeah, I mean the second part's also important, like forgiving other people.
Yeah.
When they mess up, or in some way that you think they messed up, and all of that, I think helped me a lot with getting to a better relationship and with other people, obviously too, like with friends, my advisors.
Robert, were you gonna say something?
I kind of forgot it.
Anybody else have anything to say? No?
I mean, does anyone want any clarification or?
I do have something to say about that actually. I think another issue with miscommunication is that teenagers are not communicating with their parents how they would like to receive support. and parents assume that the way they are giving support is supposed to help the child, and so us not being clear about what we need, and maybe that's a cause for frustration, especially because parents feel like they're trying so hard and they're doing so much, but it's not being received by the teen because that's not the kind of help that they're seeking. But they're also not communicating what kind of help they want. And I think a source of not communicating is they won't understand or they can't help me. I don't know if you guys can attest to that.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, how to, I have a question. How to make the parents because exactly like you said, I think as a parent we try to help, right? As a kid, I can sometimes feel she feels like I'm preaching her. I didn't want to do the preaching part, but I see like she's delaying, procrastinating, and I was thinking, well, you have to finish this, and then you don't have to tell me. And in that case, I don't know what's the best way to communicate. Kind of remind her, but at the same time, not to provide the help that she wants instead of something like I'm preaching her.
Yeah.
Do you think when she says that, oh, I know I need to do more, do you think she actually really knows that she needs to do work? Or she's just saying that so that you stop preaching to her?
Or just, not really preaching, but just like, I guess, remind. Like, do you ever feel like, do you think like she's, as what Jonathan said, like,
Does she know that she needs to do it, or
how do you think she feels, I suppose? Do you think she's really procrastinating? I mean, in a sense, like, wait, what?
Like, okay, for example,
Sorry.
sometimes I spend a lot of time in the library, so my parents don't see me work in the library. But when they do see me, I'm usually watching Netflix, playing some games, not doing my work, right? So as a result, she sees me doing most of the time she sees me is not doing work, right? So she tells me, oh, do work. I'm like, but I did do work. I'm going to do work. And when I say that, sometimes I really mean I am really going to do work eventually, like when I finish this episode, right? Or I will get it done before the deadline. Sometimes I just don't. I just saying that in hopes that she'll stop talking to me.
I think most of the teenagers, at least, I mean, probably, basically most of the teenagers around here know the pressures of work, and they usually know that they need to get the things done before the deadline. So when parents remind their teens to get something done, they usually already know it. I mean, at least from my experience, they know that they have a thing that needs to get done, but they're not getting it done now, but they want to get it done later, and they usually get it done later. So then they hear their parents saying that they need to get it done. In their mind, they're like, oh, but I'm already going to get it done. Why are you telling me this again? But the parents don't know that most of the time that their teens already have a plan for that. And that is kind of one layer of like the miscommunication that happens around.
But I think they will get them too late.
Yes,
That's the
exactly.
problem. When that past 9:30, you have to go to bed, and it's like, oh yes, I have this thing, two more things to do.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, they, like you say, she want to watch the anime or do games. And this is like yes, I have things to finish. I know I can finish later. But then at certain times, it's getting too late. You have to go to bed. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's like, to you think that staying up late is a bad thing, but to her, staying up late is not necessarily as bad. So just you
Maybe
these,
she budgets her time differently.
Yeah,
Maybe
or
in her mind she has her bedtime set at a later time than you might believe the bedtime to be at. And so one really great way is like sitting down and having a conversation without distractions about setting like a strict bedtime goal, or maybe like, I don't know, because like sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get annoyed and stuff, but
Yeah, there's not really a single solution.
I think it would be helpful to first ask your teenager what her plan is already, because by asking the question, she may be offended and thinking that I won't just know that I have a plan to do this. And another thing you can ask her is, how can I help you get this done on time? What can I do to support you finishing your project and getting enough sleep so you're not tired at school the next day? And when you come at it like this, it doesn't sound like nagging anymore, and she may be more receptive to working with you, or even taking initiative to sleep earlier, and asking for your help.
Like, like framing your language in a sense, like saying the same thing and sort of using different words. In that sense, yeah, I think in that sense it could help. Of course, this is like a complicated problem, and we don't have like. Because I mean, I understand the parents' intentions, and I tend to agree with the parents' intentions more. Now that I'm done with high school, so yeah, I feel like it's definitely like bedtime and stuff. Like, I mean, a lot of times teenagers don't really have that sort of. Sometimes they don't really have a sense of, I guess, urgency in it. Like. And like, I can't really blame them because in their days, like they are working hard, generally speaking, and so they kind of want time off. And like, a lot of times, for me, I just think that the balance between work and play is sort of like work and play, and it's kind of like this. So, in some cases, it's harder for me to exercise self-control, and I guess. That's part of the reason why the teenagers teenagers can be upset when they're reminded of this, because they feel like it's kind of just, it's not what they want, I guess. Does that make any sense? Yeah. So, yeah.
So the next question that we asked the people that we interviewed was, for the parents at least, what is your parenting style? And most of the time, the parents, when they responded, they would first say, oh, I'm not as bad as a tiger parent, or like a tiger mom, or something. And then they would usually like first open up with comparing themselves to a tiger parent, like compared to like an Asian, like an average Asian mom. I don't push my kids as hard, or I'm more lenient on my kids, and they think that they're like more different than.
They're like, it's like everybody, once again, we're all different from everybody else. We're all better, we're all more lenient. And at that point, it's a question of if you're all more lenient than the other person, then who is really more lenient, right?
Yeah, and then they'd also, parents that had more than one kid, and they would learn from their eldest kid about how to deal with them, and then when they get to their youngest kid, they have a lot of these ideas that kind of carry over from their older kids, about how to deal with their kids. Like, for example, the way, so Jen's my sister, right? And when Jen was in high school, mom had, well, do you want to tell it?
I don't know what you're about to tell.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
mom had different standards for Jen than she has for me now, I guess. Do you want to expand on that?
Obviously, she's a girl, you're a boy, right?
Okay. Okay.
And she has middle school, middle college, yeah. You have a high school, so.
Okay.
I think, because I have two older siblings, and I feel like my brother's going to college, he has a job, my sister's going to college, and the way that she's like, tested things out, see if things work, right? And now she knows how hard to push me sometimes, or like she knows better than when with my older siblings.
Yeah, most of the time generally, parenting improves over time. So having younger kids.
So one thing I would want to share, Sherwin and Jennifer, they're 7 years apart. And Jennifer's time, when she, the last semester of high school, she got, after she accepted college, the acceptance, I bought a laptop for her. She said, finally I have a laptop, but it's good things also, because all of a sudden she won't come out for breakfast, and hide in the room whole day. So she said, thank you to buy this for me after all the heavy work's done. And also for Sherwin, at his age, from elementary school, the kids already stick to the computer and spend a lot of time with computer, and then he has laptop. So the point is, the 7 years of technology and the culture for the teenagers has all changed. Now he has a phone. He has a phone all the time. That does not happen to Jennifer when she was in high school. So it's different.
Yeah,
for
technology.
me, yeah.
Sorry, no, you can keep
Yeah,
going.
that's fine. Also environment change.
Yeah, technology over time is gonna always make people want to stick to their devices more and more, because to them it's like innovation, and also like the more time you spend on something usually correlates to how much money that company's making. Anyways, they want to maximize profits and stuff, and like they do technology this way so that they get more money. Anyways, next question.
Okay.
The next question we asked for the teenagers was, what do you know about your parents? And when the teenagers would answer the question, they would say, oh, like my parents, when they were in school, they were academically like really strong, they had some achievements. They came here to the Silicon Valley where the rest of the smart people go, and then they had me. But then they don't really know like what friends that they had when they were little were like, or what hobbies, what did they do for fun, some like funny stories that they had. Most teenagers didn't really know that many like specifics about their parents' lives, but they still assume that they know what kind of people their parents are, in the sense like, oh, like they're all like kind of boring and don't like fun and but obviously like that's not always completely true. I know that when I was in 10th grade, we had a history unit on the history of China, and then we got to the Cultural Revolution, and then I suddenly realized like I didn't know anything about my parents during that time. I knew they lived in China during that time, but how was that like? And when I finally asked them, they told me all these stories about how they had to go work on farms and stuff, and like that like opened up a lot of like, that like made a lot more sense to me, like why they do things the way they do, and like how they're so hardworking, and like, you know, all the thing about farmers build character. You wake up in the morning and dig a hole, plant potatoes.
They don't have potatoes.
I don't know what they do. plant.
Wait, whatever. Yeah.
I don't know.
Rice?
I forgot. Rice probably.
Okay. Anyways.
And they had to walk through the snow to the post office to send mail to their parents for like 20 miles.
Alright, anyways.
Yeah, so I didn't know that, and then I asked one of my friend's dad what his experience were like during the Cultural Revolution for a history project, and then he told me all of his stories, but then at the end of that he told me like his son never actually asked him about what his life was like in his childhood, and this was actually one of the first times he opened up about what life was like back then. So I think if you're a teenager, you should probably ask your parent, be more interested in like what their hobbies, what makes them the person the way they are.
Aside from all their great high school diplomas and their college degrees.
Yeah.
No, like what did you like go out to parties, have fun? So like you want to know these things.
Well, I have a question. How well do you think your kids know you, parents? As people, not just as your achievements or your job title or your degree. Could you call your teenager your friend, say? There's open-ended questions here.
Questions to think about as we go to this third question. So, would you like your kids to know more about you, and what type of relationship do you want to have with them? And what do you think it'll take to get there? So, do you want to have more open conversations at a dinner table? Do you want to be able to talk about serious things more, or like have, I don't know, what do you
Like,
want?
you guys want to go karting together?
Yeah,
It's
do
gonna-
you? Maybe
yeah.
not.
Sometimes my dad took me shooting sometimes. That was really, it was a lot of fun. You know, like, do you guys want to go and have fun, or do you just,
I'll just study all day.
yeah?
And also Jen's question of how well do you think your kids know you?
And vice versa too, how well do you know your kids, aside from academics or things that, hi.
Likes to listen.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys can say I'm sorry, I need a paper.
Robert, do you want to answer that question?
I feel like I need to think a bit more on that.
I think I don't really know what I want my relationship to be like, which I think is a problem. Because if I don't know what I want to be like, how can I start working towards it, right? Like, I don't know, do I really want a good relationship with my parents? Do I want to put in that time? So if I don't really, because if I never really decide that, yes, I want these things, then how will I start working towards it? And I think that's a problem for me, because you know, having a good relationship with my parents is a good thing for the most part.
I think one like great thing that my parents do is that they actually try to learn the names of my friends and actually know like what they do and stuff. Like I think to me that shows like how much they want to be involved with my life. And I know my mom, every time when I go out with friends, she's like, oh, what friends you go out with, and like what do they do for, or like how are they like and stuff. And I like answering those types of questions, and I think more of that, I could ask more about how, I mean, I do ask, but like how her friends at work, or outside of work, what they do, you know.
Good thing is you did not take it as I check on you, so you like to share who your friends are. Actually, we are open to Sharon's and Jennifer's friends to come to our home, and we have party kind of get together time, and we always welcome their friends come to my home, and they can spend time together. So I did not ask more than I need to know to his friends, and like at least when he repeats the name of his friends, I remember, oh, he has friends, take the same class, take the same class, or some friends I find couple easily for the ride. So that's kind of, I offer a ride always if we go somewhere for his friends. So in the car I don't interrupt their conversation, so I listen to their music. So respect what they the time they have together. And, but I realized one thing, the kids, the conversation normally for parents, we think we're responsible, we ask a lot details about what's going on and where here and there. For kids, they conversation more focused on interest. If the topic parents bring up is interest to them, or they feel like they related to, they like to join the conversation. But if you just simply say something you feel important to share, but they don't feel like they need to know, and that's just not an ongoing conversation. So, like if I come home and say what happened to my work or something, they feel like, oh, that's your thing. You should take care of that. But in return, when they tell me what's going on at school, and we always listen, right? We also try to understand.
Yeah, really glad you always listen to my boring stories.
I think most parents, like, they try to put shoes into guys' shoes, understand what's going on in life, like what's the popular songs. Which
Oh, really?
I mean, seriously, that's parents try to get into your life, right? Understand what's going on with your life. So that's I think most parents try to learn. Because we grew up with totally different background, right? As you guys know, so that's totally better. So I think the parents try to understand and go along with the conversation you guys are interested. But a lot of time, kind of along the kind of interesting topic, then kind of shift to the other area, then tension will rise, something like that. Yeah.
Ask your kids about like what they think about certain things can also be a really great way to have a conversation. Like, what do you think about this whole thing? I don't know. What do you think about the games you play on your phone? What do you like? I don't know. Just like ask them.
About what Trump just said.
Yeah.
Well, that's only a good thing if you guys both agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Do you want to go to the next one?
You can go on.
So yeah, that's all the questions, basically the general question asked. Now, what I want to do is I want to kind of sum up what the big problem is, the underlying problem. And that's really just, we grew up in different places, we have different experiences growing up, and we do things differently as a result of that, right? As many of you have said, you guys, as like his parents went on a farm and dug holes for potatoes, we, sit on our iPhones, we play games. We just do things differently, and so we approach problems differently. And as a result, we start to talk differently, we communicate differently. Like, maybe my parents want to offer me some apples. I don't want apples. I want to, finish my work, right? So, like, they think that apples will help me finish my work. I think that I would finish my work better without apples, right? We just do things so differently, and as a result, there's like conflict, right? We miscommunicate, we misinterpret, and we start to like see hostile attentions. We start to think negatively, even when there isn't negative stuff there, right? And then as a result, and if you do this enough, like if there's enough negative emotions when you communicate, then you start to associate, whenever we talk, something bad will happen. Whenever we talk, they'll bring up college apps, they'll bring up this, I have to go to this great college, I have to do this. And you start to not want to talk. Well, at least I sometimes don't want to talk to my parents because, I don't want to talk about college apps all the time. So sometimes I'll avoid it, and avoiding communication is a really bad way to have a good relationship. And then also as a result, there's not a lot of emotional safety, which is, if you want to have a good relationship, you have to be open, right? You have to share your emotions, you have to share your life. But if they start to say, but your life is good, but what about this thing? And they start, they're not interested in my life, or they critique me on this, I don't feel very safe, right? They start to like not want, but like sometimes I don't want to, like sometimes I'll say something, my mom ignores it, she talks about something else, like, are you interested in my life? So I might not want to share my life with her so much after that. And that really isn't, I'm sure she's done that where she's told me about stuff. Like she tells me about stuff and I'm not very interested. I feel like that might make her not want to talk as much about her life to me. Which is a really, not a good way to have a relationship. But next slide we have. Do you want to do it?
Yeah. So the solutions, aka tips and tricks on how to talk to each other better. So we all have 2 ears and one mouth, one ear to listen to yourself and the other one to listen to what other people say. That's not how ears work, but basically when you're talking, also listen to the words you're saying and how they might sound to the other person. One other thing is that you can, both sides can be more open to changes in the relationship. If like one side wants to be more open, they maybe you could also be open to facilitating that, or vice versa. This one is a really big one, praising efforts and not result. So for an example, one good example actually is last year I auditioned for a county honor band, and I tried really hard. I practiced my music like an hour every day, and it came around, and then I bombed it, and then I didn't even get in. There were like 30 spots and like 50 people auditioning, and I didn't make the top 30, and that was really bad. And then, but the great thing is that my mom didn't like criticize like me not getting in. She still recognized that I tried really hard on practicing, and actually like, you know, she praised my efforts. And I see a lot of the times how other teenagers, they're like, oh, I only got second place in that math contest, but I could have gone first. But like, and then they say a lot of that comes from their parents expecting the results, but not exactly respecting the effort that it took to get there. So another good tip is to be verbally positive with each other. Another example, using my own mom, is that she works like 8 to 10 hours a day, and sometimes when she gets home, she still has that energy to actually make food for me to eat because I was too busy to make food or too lazy. And when she makes the food, I always compliment her making the food, and like, oh, it tastes really good, and thank you for using for not being so tired that you just skip dinner altogether. And I think more compliments facilitates a better environment for having more emotionally vulnerable conversations, or at least like more open conversations.
Yeah.
And then another thing that teenagers mostly agree on is when their parents compare their kids to other parents' kids, or like their friends' kids, or this parent that they saw in the news kids, and basically how well, Jonathan, you have a good example.
Well, so my mom helps people get in colleges. So sometimes she'll talk to me about them, right? Say this kid, got to Yale, very good student, or say this person who, president of this club, did this really nice thing, is a really good artist, they got into this nice college. And I feel like sometimes this is what she does for a living. It's just, basically how she makes her living to support herself and me, right? And sometimes I feel like you're talking about all these great kids to me, and like, I feel like obviously some of these kids are actually smarter than me, really do better than me. Okay, to be honest, some of them are really, really smart kids. So I feel like I don't always live up to that, right? I feel hurt by that. Like, okay, this person did really well. Okay, like, and then she doesn't always like, oh, right, because like this person did this great thing, like, but I also did this great thing. And it does. It's yeah. Don't do that.
Alright, thank you for listening to our presentation. Now we're gonna start a Q&A session. So feel free to ask questions.
Sort of just general questions about our presentation, about opinions, I guess.
Yeah, anything that you thought of while listening and want to ask us for our own perspective or whatever.
So what is one thing you learned after doing this interview about yourself or about your friends or parents?
I think one of the things I learned was one of the first questions, which is what are the goals of the children, right? And it's like a lot of times, a lot of my classmates back at high school were like, oh, I don't want to be a CS engineer. I don't want to do this. My parents always push me to do this something, and I don't really want to do it. And then we asked them like, what do you want to do in the future? Like,
I don't know.
I don't really know. It was like, well, how would you know that you don't want to do it if you don't know what you want to do, right? It's just kind of like it's like a reaction that because my parents pushed me really, really hard to do it, I don't want to do it. And sometimes I do that too, right? My parents push me to do this, and I don't want to do it as a result of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, as parents, actually, we always want to inspire kids to do something more or motivate them to do something else. So what way you think is a good way to encourage the kids, especially teenagers, to do something? So what the way you think you can accept it or you think is a good way to do?
I think the problem with that question is, are they already doing more? Are they already doing very well? Right? And then once you establish that they are doing really well, the question is, can they do really well? Do they want to do even more? It's not just what is good, what is their potential, but what do they want with their potential?
I think what Jonathan's trying to say is teenagers like to have the choice to accept or decline your request for them to do more or to try something out. And when they feel that they made the choice to do it or to try it out, it's motivating by itself. Is that?
Yeah.
I think teenagers don't like to be told what to do.
Yeah,
They're
just in
almost
general,
adults.
very rebellious.
Like, I mean, like,
And there's another, interpretation which might be, is there something wrong with me? Does my parent think that there's something wrong with me that they are telling me to do something else? And if they believe that, then they will be resistant, most likely. So presenting it in a way where it's, you don't need this, I'm not doing it to change you or to fix you or make you better, but here's something really cool that you can try out, and you have the choice to tell me yes or no, or give me your own suggestion. I think teenagers like to be asked what their thoughts on something
Yeah, what
are.
their thoughts are.
It makes us feel mature.
Hey, I
But
have a
it like
suggestion
really
for you.
does,
What do
right?
you think?
Because like we feel respected, right? You really want to know what we think about this. You really want to know about us and what we like to do. You know, makes us feel better about ourselves, right?
Does that help?
I have a question for any of you. Is that in your high school, the 4 years, right? Do you have some moment you really emotionally feel appreciation for your parents? Not including hey, not including your parents today give you a cell phone. Hey, my parents are the greatest in the world. Not counting on that. I mean, really some moment.
From your heart.
Yeah, I know that you are all very excellent students at this moment. I'm an assistant scout master. I know that when they behave like angel, they can speak whatever adult want to hear, right? But I'm trying to see if there's any like evil part that sometimes you really touched or moved by your parents' behavior, what they talk, what they do. So can you share any kind of that moment?
sometimes when I'm really tired, I guess, when I was doing my work, my parents would sort of massage my head because that's where all the thinking happens. So that's why they massage it and they make it more comfortable, and then they massage around my eyes because I've been staring at the computer screen for 8 hours. And that, like, it feels physically good, and it also at that time I can really feel like what they feel for me, right? So that feels really good, always.
I think also like the small things. I know my mom likes cutting fruit and bringing me into my room, and like every time she does that, I feel like sometimes I try to act annoyed, like you're disturbing me, like I'm doing work, but like I always appreciate it, and then every time you bring it, like I eat all of it before you come back, basically, and like to me it shows that you care about my health. And also, like, you don't want me to accidentally starve myself to death. And you're like, it's like you're taking care of me. And to me, like, sometimes when you leave, I would like look at the door as you leave, and then like I want to stand up and hug you, and like because like it means a lot to me when you bring like a peach or a watermelon.
Room service will be charged.
Oh yeah.
For parents, actually, do you promote appreciation and these kinds of traits in your children? Do you ever tell your child, wow, you are a really great friend to so-and-so. Hey, you are a really great sibling to your brother or your sister. Do you compliment other people in traits such as appreciation or kindness or things like that? So that children, teens themselves, learn appreciation and have those values as well. Or are those things that normally aren't said at home in general? It's just a question.
I think that's a good question. I think the one thing I learned from my older child is he actually wanted me to talk about work. Because we are so busy focusing on the kids, like most of the questions, most of the conversation is about the kid, and then essentially he doesn't know what I'm doing during the day. Yeah, so I think to that question, if you, as a parent, can share what you're struggling with, what you went through to solve a problem or get better. So instead of preaching to them, you're actually acting, this is what I do, this is what I'm struggling with.
This is what happens.
This is what happens. Not only you make it real, like you're a real person. You're not just a coach, just an instructor.
Yeah.
You're actually a person who's also, dealing with your own problem. But also I think he finds it easier to connect with me on real issues. Like he feel like it's okay to talk about struggles. It's okay to talk about things that are not perfect. So one of the things I'm rambling. I think for Asian community, the kids, tend to report, good things when they go home, right? When they're really struggling, they talk to their friends, or they may not talk to anybody at all. They shut down, and that's kind of what I worry about. Okay? So when I hear a lot of good things, and not an ounce of bad things, I worry. His life is not like that. Right?
Yeah. Okay. So
I think one really great way to better facilitate that is just letting them know that you're always open to hearing, like directly telling them, not just showing them, that you're open to hearing about their struggles in their daily life, and that anytime they feel like they need to talk about something, they should just let you know, or no shoulds, but like I'm always there to listen, and like that kind of language.
There's something called love languages. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's different ways of expressing love, right? It's like physical touch, gifts, like fruits, physical touch, like massages, right? Or like words of appreciation. These are different ways of expressing your love, and there's like kind of a thing like the best way you receive love is the way that you give love. Yes, that's the way.
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
So people tend to give love to people the way they like to receive it. And so there's actually some quizzes online where you can find out which of the 5 love languages you're most responsive to and you're most receptive to. So it's gifts, it's physical touch, it's words of affirmation, acts of service when you go out of your way to do something for someone, and also just quality time spent. Sometimes when you do something for your child, for example, they may not perceive it as love because that is not how they like to receive love, and vice versa. They may be trying to spend time with you, and you want to receive love through words of affirmation, them telling you that you love them, or sorry, I'm using too many pronouns now. It may not be received because it's not the way, because they don't know how you like to receive love, and vice versa. So I think it's actually a very simple quiz you can take online and actually share your results with your teens or your spouse. Yeah? You raise your hand? Okay.
going back toward more, I guess, when you said something about like you worried about too much positivity because that's not how life works, I think that's you said something. I think like, yeah, I pretty much completely agree with that. And I feel like when we say like praise your children more, it's more of like, I guess, show your appreciation more. Because when I'm sometimes around my parents when I was in high school, I often felt relatively sort of separated because we were just busy in a sense, and we didn't really have time to, I guess, talk and to show ourselves that we're not just robots. So basically, and I think the teens can get along with their, I guess, friends at school better because they see more than just, I guess, one, or for the parents, sometimes they tend to show like a certain side of them rather than a different side because the dynamic between like a parent and their child is different from like peers or friends, right? Friends tend to be more open with each other in a sense because they're friends and they don't really need to like, I guess, care for each other on like a sort of financial level or something like that. They can talk about their feelings more and they don't really have to worry about supporting each other in like the financial sense that parents have to do. And I guess in a sense, because parents have like all these other responsibilities that friends don't have, it sort of sacrifices the amount of like their time and ability to sort of have sort of, I guess, a more human and emotional connection, basically, and yeah.
One more question. So, based on my listening to your conversation, basically, it seems like you have changed a lot from high school to college. Actually, that's not the first case. I heard a lot of friends telling me the same thing. When the kids were in high school, they were very rebellious. But when they go to college, they totally changed. Looking back at the past experience and the relationship with the parents, they changed. And one theory is that because when in high school they live with their parents did so many things for them. The kids didn't realize, they didn't appreciate. But when they go to college, they're living on their own. Everything. They have to do everything. Laundry, planning for whatever things, they have to do everything. So many tedious things they have to worry about. And then they started to appreciate their parents. So I just want to see what triggers your change, your maturity growth.
Well, I'll have to get to college to see if I feel it. But I think what most likely happened was that I'm a lot more relaxed now that I've graduated, and so I can think about those kind of things more. And so, because if you're sort of stressed more often, a lot of times it's a lot harder to show appreciation, right? So that applies for a lot of teenagers around here, and when they sort of have an opportunity to like have a break, like not just like a spring break or even a summer break, but just like when they're out of high school, they can just think about these things more because they don't have to worry about those grades and stuff.
Actually, after the second semester senior year, I think that the pressure level is already low, right?
It drops off, yeah.
Right?
But
because all the college application is done, it's kind of like just coursework.
Yeah, basically like at that time, like you don't even have to worry about getting, I guess, like you don't have to like try super hard and get all A's and stuff because generally colleges tend not to see.
Right?
Basically, like they just need to see like if you like pass or get like straight B's at least in that sense. Depends on what college you go to, of course, but that's, I guess, kind of what happened, but I guess it has different, like everyone definitely has some level of senioritis, if you know what it is. And well, if you don't know what it is, that's basically just like when you're a second semester senior, you're done with your college apps, you don't really have to show college, just what you need to do, and so you just and so yeah. That did give me more time, but I think summer gave me a lot more time. Like when I actually graduated.
Yeah, I think stress is one of the major factors on why a lot of relationships around here don't work as well, because when people are more stressed up, I mean, they're gonna have less time to think about things not related to what's stressing them, and that way, I guess, in some respect, most teenagers around here from like 9th grade to like 12th grade are gonna be like at least on a baseline level like mildly irritable. Yeah. Well, Robert seems to take thoughts.
While you're thinking, I think it goes back to one of our the problem slide about how we have different life experiences that changes how we see the world and as well how we do things, right? So once we go to college, our experience of the world dramatically changes. So that really goes like, and then we, as a result, we also start to see the world differently, right? The context with the world changes, and then we start to look at the world differently. We react to the world differently, and part of that is we start to look at our parents differently and our relationship differently too, right?
I remember my kids, my daughter started to learn piano at the junior year, 11th grade. One day she said, "I want to learn piano." I said, "You're 11th grade and you're busy." She said, "Yeah, I want to do that." And then Sherman spent so lot of time at 11th grade to do the clarinet. So music took up a lot of time, but I realized that really balanced the life. So they're stressed, but play music to make them feel like relief and joy. So
different things work for different people. But I think, yeah, like the arts and exploring your creative side definitely help with your stress too. But like the kids finding it on their own is the best way most of the time.
Like when I was a little kid, my siblings all played piano. I didn't want to play piano. Kind of because the teacher looked a little bit scary. But no, I didn't want to do that. But like this past year, I started taking piano classes at Dianza. Like, yeah, because I wanted to, right? I wanted to learn how to play piano, and I enjoyed it. And, yes. Because I decided by myself. My mom was kind of surprised that I wanted to do this.
Kids are rebellious stuff.
Yeah.
They don't like accepting
Your
suggestions
choice.
from other people.
Or
Most.
I think so. It's like
having the illusion of deciding it for themselves.
yeah, like I think a lot of it has to do with like what they perceive of as whether they're given an option. And we've talked about this, of course, but like it's always a lot harder to do something when you realize that you like have to do it, or like you're being forced to do it, or you have like a deadline. And I guess that sort of applied to me when I was like a kid, and I also played piano. And a lot of times it was just sort of an obligation, and I didn't really find joy in it because I had to take classes and stuff, and I sort of had to practice, or else like my parents wouldn't really be happy. So I guess that was like difficult. But then later on, I started to realize that maybe I could like keep doing it. But like it was from a place when my parents like, or just anyone wasn't like sort of enforcing things, I guess.
Yeah. We still have a little bit of time for more questions.
Anybody else?
These are the, I was just gonna say, these are the kinds of things we talk about every single week. A lot of, I don't know, Jonathan actually is the club president.
So we talk about issues like this. We try to understand better, like, because on the surface, it just might seem like kids don't have good parents, and parents don't know how to have a relationship with the teen, right? But like, we look at it, and there's lots of interesting reasons like we just talk about. We also talk sometimes. That's one thing we also talk about other things such as mental health, or talk about politics sometimes.
Social issues.
Yeah.
Social issues.
and I think it's really good for us because I'm sure that we've all grown a great deal. You see the world in a different way. That's what we as BayEcho do. Of course, our main thing is still doing seminars like this help us and our parents get to know each other better and have a better relationship. If you as a teen think that this is something that you like to do, or you as a parent think your teen would like to do this, please send them our way. We'll take anybody.
Yeah, so every week our meetings kind of look like we come, we spend the first half hour just talking about our own weeks and our own lives and how things in our lives, like it just like kind of like
Just
an
checking
emotion. Yeah, just checking in, like emotionally safe place for people to talk about how things are going without fear of overjudging, and it's like kind of like a group of friends. But then, and then next we move on to talking about like a specific issue. We explore the topic, we explore how we feel about the topic, and then we after that we work on like a presentation or something.
Yeah.
What
It's
are
like-
some examples of topics?
Right now, one of the biggest things we're working on is this is one of the first presentations that we're focusing towards teens, because what I've noticed, especially within my life, is the very odd nature of being an Asian American in America, right? Because our parents come from a different culture, we're in a weird culture, the rest of America is in a different culture, right? And it's like, are we really Asian? Are we really American? Right? So it's like, it's kind of an identity crisis. We're talking about that right now.
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean to be Asian American? What is our culture?
Yeah. Last week we talked about what is American Dream, and then we each went around and talked about what we thought the American Dream was, and kind of explored that topic.
We've talked about gaming, we've talked about chores.
Yes, video games.
Video games.
Yeah.
Also dating.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about or
We
just
talk
like
about-
relationships in general.
Yeah.
Cause like some
Even
of
with-
us are single. For, yeah, like. So.
Stress management. We try to stay away from other topics that kids may not want to talk about as much, such as, you know, scores on tests and things like that.
Yeah.
We try to avoid talking exactly about those topics because then it just becomes, oh my god, I can't believe you got a 90, I got an 89. But more about, you know, looking into why is it that kids are putting themselves down and comparing themselves to other kids, or why is it that they're feeling stress or, you know, pressure from their friends and other parents, and getting really to the core of those things.
Yeah. Meetings are pretty chill usually.
Do you have?
Yes, so this meeting is for all the teams.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is the meeting time?
Right now we have it Sunday at 3:30, but we're kind of flexible, right?
Yeah, we're pretty flexible.
So like if your team or you can't make it, then you know we'll see what works out on a schedule. And just right now, that's the most convenient time for us.
And the topics we usually ask around if people want to talk about something or another thing. Yeah, we're pretty open to any suggestions.
It's open to everyone?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
All
much.
the teams?
Yeah. Mostly teens, but I mean
It's mostly teens.
Yeah.
If-
I mean, there are some adults here.
yeah, 'cause, like it's still good to get like perspectives of people who've already gone through this, people who are in different parts of life, right? It's still good to like really look at things differently.
What is the youngest?
Right now we have a freshman.
Yeah, rising freshmen.
How many girls?
Oh right.
This is like us, plus
Yeah.
the freshmen.
Well,
Because all seniors graduated and
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who's left behind.
City girls we're trying to recruit more of, definitely.
Yeah. Right now our club is 3 guys and 2 girls.
Yeah.
We 3 years ago we had more girls than boys.
3 years ago.
3 years ago,
Yes.
more girls than
My
boys.
sister was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that time, I think they were like 12 kids or something.
We had 12 before we all graduated.
Yeah, I know graduated.
We had a lot of people graduate this year.
Yeah, the first, the BayEcho, the first year students, I think are already graduated from college for 3 years. Yeah.
yeah, Johnson's older brother already graduated from college for 2.5 years, and Brenna's older sister also was BayEcho's member. Currently is college sophomore.
Yes.
Yeah, so he has said it. Anything else? Any questions? Anybody want to? Yes?
A good way to introduce this idea to your kids is to not only like say what we do, but also, I mean, coming to a seminar, obviously just to see what we're like is cool, but also if they could just come to one meeting, usually that sells.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys have any
Like,
other videos?
remember to offer the illusion of choice.
Yes, offer the choice.
Yeah.
Coming.
Yeah, and then if you guys are interested, teams are interested, just send them to Sherry. Sherry will send them to us.
Sherry.
Yeah.
Get somewhere, someplace to fix you.
Right, do not sell it as a place that you can be fixed. There's nothing wrong with it right now.
So we can wait. Actually, you come from the same school or?
I'm from Bloomberg, but I do middle college, that's college now. So I take all my classes at Yanza.
I'm from Monte Vista.
Same.
We have more diversity today. Everyone graduated.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the previous member, the phone members, there's a Harper student, Leland student, also
Saratoga.
Gum
Saratoga.
student, Saratoga student, Cupertino High student, yeah, and also several Limber High student. Yeah, we had many. Also Fremont High School student. Also Las Gatos High, yeah, we had too many. And they have given presentation at Leland High School, Limburg High School, also has
One of us just had us do one a couple months ago.
in many cities, convention center, Santa Clara Conference Center, also at Palato, Redwood, San Jose, many places. Also Fremont,
So, guys, have any last comments, questions? You guys are ready to go?
Yeah, you're excused.
Thank you very much.
Why did you present? I'm just.
Well, they were a good audience. We're happy.
Yeah, good job. Good job for listening and participating.
That was a pretty good audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see them.
You can see the,
Yeah, I
you
can
have
see them.
the little goblins turning all the gears.
Yeah. I like your officers. They're like a lot more compromising. Well, everyone's empty now. Everyone's gone.
I mean, this is kind of smart.
That was pretty good. I thought. I didn't think so. Especially the two guys. Yeah, that too. Yeah, I just the kids look like they're back here though.
The kids are just like totally shocked.
Yeah, the two kids were there.
They're just looking at the
I think they were dragged there.
Looking at their nails.
They didn't choose to come here.
Yeah, they weren't given the.
They were not given the illusion of choice.
Yeah, they must have chosen.
Like, when we were like, oh, we need more members, I saw like the mom look at her.
Yeah, she's like,
glared at her.
Oh god.
Okay.
Yikes. I think
What else do I have to say about that? Yes.
Wait, there's like
Oh,
your
right.
teenagers.
yeah, there's like one.
the one, yeah.
I think humor really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going? Bye. Thanks for
Yeah,
presenting.
be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, be
Yes.
funny. Bye.
Yes. So humor, yeah, that would help.
what are your thoughts on the impact that it would have, or?
I think it's good because you have like a very
I don't know.
different.
I don't know. Or actually,
It's not in language.
is this your first
Yeah, it's like
This is your
like especially today, right? Like the
basically-
way you said
I guess second
like the
one
place.
at my house.
Hold on, so we haven't even
Those are-
discussed, these are not a good
It's
thing.
a good thing. Like because after today, like you're still able to take our views and still clarify them.
我这能来了，你在外边就有了，就这个。
Okay, let's
I'm more concerned about,
I think
yes,
John,
just,
you
the social
can,
issues, for
you can.
example.
I mean, then you just need to talk less on when you talk, like because you don't need to talk a lot. You don't want to talk about this a lot. You want to talk about.
Well, that's the other thing,
Hello.
it's not,
Hi.
you know, we can say that this is an open
Hi.
space.
You use the bathroom? Oh.
Because it's really cool.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
focus on the lot of this, but it's in there, so it's and vice versa, this is kind of weird. However, the one that's on the floor is not about politics, right? So
Yeah.
that's really weird. So I guess my question is, do you guys still want me to be in front of the still need me?
Contribute more than Brian.
I think it's.
I bring from whatever, so.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have problems with being here, even though I'm a member. But
因为我们总是的 team speaker，背后中心是的 team speaker。
For me, I don't know what I say.
是妈妈介绍，是知道是知道
For
吗？
me, I feel like
他妈妈介绍
you're
然后
bringing
最后
a whole new dimension to what we're talking. Because we're all basically Asian males in high school, plus Canada, and so we all think like pretty much the same. But you have graduated, you lived in Arizona, and I don't know, you've seen like white people, we don't see white people.
Oh my god, I'm gonna show you a picture of my work.
Oh,
Is it all white?
It's all white.
Everyone is a white, like, male
Yeah. So
and female. This is my work. And everyone's kids over there too.
yeah, so on that, in that aspect, like there's a lot of different points that we get that most of us don't really consider. Especially because like Eddie's basically our
And
more articulate and also
And-
left.
非常尊重我。
far more left. Well, he's also not left at the same time. He's like on all sides of the spectrum.
Wait, why do you? Why?
I would like.
He has zero rightness.
Yeah.
Or I mean, like I don't
I
like
think it's
it.
like economic.
Well, I mean, he's. Well, I would say that he's
Pretty
to.
well about it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
He-
this one is.
I think he is to the point that it's not really useful to use like a political spectrum or compass or anything like that.
Anyways, besides that, also I think like BayEcho is a really great thing just for us to actually talk because every week you're at work and you come home at like 11 and sleep, and I'm like working and doing some work at 11 and you come home. So I think BayEcho is like also a great thing for us.
Always make time too. That's the,
Yeah, but like I'm usually really lazy, and I feel like BayEcho is already like that time that I've made.
我给你发吧，我发给你了，我得回家了，我得。
你可以再说我回家吗？
我可以再希望回家。
Oh yeah, Sherwin told me you're hella busy.